You're listening to the podcast of Iris Josephina. If you're passionate about exploring the menstrual cycle, cyclical living, body wisdom, personal growth, spirituality, and running a business in alignment with your natural cycles, you're in the right place. I'm Iris. I'm an entrepreneur, functional hormone specialist, trainer, and coach, and I am on a mission to share insights, fun facts, and inspiration I discover along the way as I run my business and walk my own path on Earth. Here, you'll hear my personal stories, guest interviews, and vulnerable shares from clients and students. Most people know me from Instagram, where you can find me under @CycleSeeds, or they have been a coaching client or student in one of my courses. I'm so grateful you're here. Let's dive into today's episode. Hey loves, welcome back to the Inner Rhythms podcast. It's Iris here. And today we're diving into a topic that I absolutely love. It is about seasonal eating and our body clock. And as some of you may know, I recently started studying applied quantum biology, and it really feels like it's the missing link in all of my work, all of the work that I have been doing in the past 10 years. And I really feel that, there is a lot of rootedness in when we look at the functional approach to hormone health. But I do feel in that approach, sometimes we miss nature because it's all about optimizing. It's all about, supplementation, lifestyle, all these things. But there was a part that missed, and I didn't know what that part was. I just knew it was there. And that part was applied quantum biology and how the body deals with light, with water, and the earth. And today I want to talk about seasonal eating and your body clock and how we can perceive food as light, time, and information. And I know that this perspective may require your mind to open a little bit because this is really not a perspective that is often taken. But there is a lot of research that has been done about this that I was completely unaware of. And so, when we talk about food, we often are taught to think of it as calories or maybe as macros, and maybe if you dive a little bit deeper, nutrients. But from a cyclical quantum perspective, food is so much more than fuel for the body. It is information. And I find this so super interesting because food actually carries the light, the season, and the environment it grew in. And your body can read that information almost like a book. And so when you understand this, suddenly what you eat, when you eat, and where you eat all become ways of syncing your inner rhythms of your body. And I'm not just talking about the menstrual cycle, but every single rhythm that the body is on with the outer rhythms of the earth. And I feel that this is such a profound way to reconnect with ourselves as human beings, reconnect with our menstrual cycles, reconnect with our day-to-day cycles, our circadian rhythm, and even through that, connecting to the earth around us, the people around us, our communities. And for me, one very interesting thing that happened when I started to perceive my food in this way is that I feel so much more purpose in my life, and I managed to see so much more magic around me. And it's wild how much my perception of food has shifted and changed. And today I just want to share the wisdom that I gathered over the past few months with you, because I feel there is so much crap out there. And when we look at food just as fuel or as calories or just as macros, we take away a lot of the magic, and it can really become a chore to interact with our food, and a lot of people have a distorted relationship with food. And I feel, after learning all of this, that is because we have lost the concept and the importance of seasonal eating and how food is information for our body. So let's start there. Food is information. It's not just fuel. And so your body was really not designed for aesthetics or performance. If you look at it from a very plain biologic perspective, your body is designed for survival. And so from a biological perspective, food basically tells your body where you are on the planet, what time of the day it is, and what season you're in. So think about it. If apples ripen in late summer, your body and your ancestors learned to expect apples in late summer. When you eat them in season, your body clock matches with this food. Your body clock relaxes. It feels that this food came on time. And when you eat tropical fruit like pineapples in the middle of dark European winter, that information absolutely does not match your environment, and your biology senses that mismatch. And this can lead to a whole host of issues and problems, and I will share more about this in my upcoming course, Cyclical, where I will dive super deep into this. If you're interested in learning more, put yourself on the wait list. So I just want to reiterate that seasonal local food is very, very powerful because it gives your body coherent, reliable information that matches your light environment. So these foods have grown in a light environment that your body recognizes at that specific time of the year and that specific time of the day. Now, let's talk a little bit more about timing. And with timing, I specifically want to talk about why it matters when you eat and which time frames of eating we choose. So maybe you've heard me talk about how every cell in the body, every organ has its own clock. So your gut has its own clock. And with the gut, it's actually extra special because the gut actually in the evening goes to sleep earlier than you do. Your liver has its own clock, your mitochondria have their own clock, your reproductive system has its own clock, your insulin has its own clock, and they all run on their own rhythms. And the thing is, they don't really like surprises. So your gut, for example, like I mentioned, goes to bed before you do. So by sunset, your pancreas and your digestive system are already winding down. If you eat a big meal at 10 p.m., it's like waking up a sleeping child. Everything gets thrown off, like that digestion slows, your blood sugar regulation falters, inflammation rises, and your sleep is disrupted. Now, on the other hand, if you're eating in sync with the day, this actually strengthens all the body clocks and your sense of rhythm within your body. So when we have breakfast near sunrise, this really anchors your hormones. It lowers morning cortisol, it sets leptin, your hormone that regulates satiation for the day. Lunch is a little bit more flexible. In summer, with strong sunlight, sometimes your body prefers less food because you're literally charging from the sun. In winter, lunch may feel grounding and necessary because your body craves more density and warmth because it's not receiving that from the outside environment. Dinner, from a biological perspective, should end before sunset or at least 3 to 4 hours before bed so that your body just has to focus on the main tasks it's primed for at night. So that is detox, that is repair, that is rest. Now, if you're someone who is snacking all day, this can, for example, confuse your liver clock. And when we just look at it like very plain from a biological perspective, Your biology prefers clear meal times. It wants to predict what is next. And I know that there is a lot of ideas about, food and food timing and fasting and all the things that are hip and fancy and whatever these days. But I really have taken it upon myself to really see like how do these organs work in relation to the place and the light and the time of day and season, and how does our body respond when it comes to food. And the truth is that this shifts and changes with the seasons. So we're not supposed to be eating in the exact same way in every single earth season. And actually, our hormones change with seasons. This was also not something that I knew, but your thyroid hormones can change with the season, and even your sex and your stress hormones can shift with the seasons of the earth. So in each season, your biology prefers clarity on when it receives food and when it receives light. Now, when we're talking about light, I want to reframe for you what food actually is, specifically if we're looking at plants. So I want to reframe how you see food and look at food for a minute as stored light. Here's where it gets fascinating. So, as most of you know, plants grow through photosynthesis. And this literally, if you look at what that is, it's literally weaving sunlight into matter. And food, how you can look at it from a quantum biological perspective, is slowed down light formed into matter that your mitochondria can read. Your mitochondria, very, very simply explained, are the energy centers of the cell where food gets converted and light gets converted into energy. When you eat, your body isn't just counting carbs or fat. It's literally decoding the light information stored in that food. And to give you a few examples, apples carry late summer sunlight. Potatoes carry the earth's grounding energy. Tropical fruits carry the signature of equatorial UV light. So when your body takes in that information, it either matches or clashes with your environment. And that's why eating with the seasons and your location matters so much. And I personally believe that so many people these days have so many problems because we eat so much imported foods and we just expect everything to be available all the time, which then leads to us eating food that is a light mismatch compared to where we environmentally are or where on the planet we are. So this is one of the reasons why it's so important to match your food with your location and the season that you're in. And I will share more about this in my upcoming course because there is a lot to say about deuterium in food and how there is like a deuterium mismatch when we eat a lot of imported foods. But if you want to learn more about that, I'll talk about that in my course, Cyclical. So with that, it's also important to match the environment you eat in with what your body needs in that moment. So it's not only what you eat, but also where and how you eat. Let me give you an example. Two people eat the exact same croissant. One person eats it outdoors at sunrise with friends, laughter, warm sunlight on their skin, the sun helping them, support all the processes in their body. And the other person eats it alone at midnight, in fluorescent lights, they're stressed, they're scrolling. The way that their body is going to digest that food, because the clocks don't match, because we're not supposed to be eating at midnight, the way that the body will be dealing with that food is very, very different than this first person that I described. It's the same food, but it's a completely different biological response. Your body processes food through the lens of your environment, but also your emotional state. Like fear of food or guilt or eating in artificial light literally shrinks your electromagnetic field, while eating with joy outdoors in community literally expands it. So what I want you to remember here is that food is never just food. It's when we eat something, the food is important for our body, the light is important for our body, so the light environment that we're in, but also the light under which that food grew, the environment that we're in, and also the mindset with which we are eating. I know this is probably a little bit far-fetched for some people, but there has been research about this that just really, really blew my mind. And I am really, really excited to teach more about this in my course Cyclical, because I feel this is really the missing link in how people are, consuming food. And I feel this is also one of the reasons why, some people can have the exact same perfect quote unquote diet, and they don't drink alcohol, they don't eat sugar, but still the problems that they want to have solved don't get solved because, for example, they're eating stressed, they're working out under fluorescent lights, they're eating too late at night, etc. So do not underestimate the environment that you eat in and how we can create a biological mismatch with that. So now let's bring this all together with the seasons. In summer, we have more natural UV light outside of us, which means that there is more melanin present in your body. And with that, your system can handle more carbohydrates because the light matches the fruit that grows in that time. Most people need less food overall in summer because we are literally solar powered. We are a solar powered species. And this is why in summer, I often tell my clients, it's okay if you're not that hungry, just try to eat with the light outside. And so in winter, there is less light, there is more cold, and the body will naturally ask more for fats and proteins and grounding foods. And your mitochondria may actually thrive on ketosis in this season. And we may not need loads of food. It's the type of food that we may eat more of compared to summer, like fats and proteins. And for some people, it may feel good in winter that we, for example, skip dinner because we have so much fats and proteins that we eat. For other people, this may not be the case at all. So for me, because I live in a country where there is quite some light during the day, still in winter, and there's quite a lot of sunshine, I do feel that I experience like a milder shift in what my body needs when it comes to macros. But in summer, I definitely feel that I want to eat more fruits that grow here, like here in Portugal. There is so many different types of fruits that grow in summer, and I naturally am more drawn towards fruits. And in winter, I barely ever eat fruits because it's a mismatch. I just feel in my body when I eat loads of fruit in winter, it feels cold, it's a mismatch. Whereas warm fats and proteins, a lot of like stews, it just feels really good to eat that. I don't need gigantic portions, but it just feels better to eat this type of food because there is a little bit less light. Sometimes we'll have a lot of rain. Usually on rainy, gray days, I crave like a lot of fats, proteins, grounding foods in wintertime. And autumn and spring are times throughout the year where your body naturally shifts appetite with the daylight changes. So we may experience shifts in how long the days are. And in autumn and spring, we see a lot of like transitional foods. Some people will rely more on stored foods, roots, squashes, but it really depends on where you are on the planet. Like this is what's true for me, where I live. And I want to say there is no one perfect diet because it's all cyclical. Our diet naturally shifted. If we look at our ancestors and the entire human timeline before we had the Industrial Revolution, it shifted and changed with the season. And it also shifts and changes with your location. So when you travel, you may see that there is different foods available and your body will naturally, slowly adapt to that. So with this episode, my big invitation for you is to stop thinking of food as just nutrients. See it as information. It is light, it is time, it is rhythm or season, encoded into matter. And your body will respond to that. And my invitation is to really start small. And the first thing is eat breakfast with sunrise, choose local seasonal foods when you can, stop eating after sunset, and try to eat in a place, an environment of joy, maybe community when possible. And if you want to learn more about this, I definitely would recommend for you to sign up for the waitlist for my upcoming course, Cyclical. And if you want to get started with my morning routine, my circadian morning routine, to get started with, getting acquainted with, okay, what is this light thing? How do I adjust my body to the light that is out there, and how does it work, and what's an easy way to do that? I've pasted my free guide in the show notes and you can download it. And I would love to hear from you how it feels in your body when you start bringing these very, very small changes. And if this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who's curious about cycles, about light, about food. And remember that your body is always cyclical and it's deeply connected to the seasons on so many different levels, and that you can be gentle with it. I hope this episode brought you new inspiration and new perspectives on how we can perceive and interact with food. I can't wait to see you in the next episode, and I wish you a beautiful rest of your day or your evening, and I'll see you in the next one. Okay, this wraps up today's episode. Thank you so much for listening. Want to know more about me? The best way to reach me is via @CycleSeeds on Instagram. And if you heard something today and you think, oh my God, wow, I learned something new, feel free to share the podcast on your social media and tag me. Or leave a review or rating. In this way, you help me reach more people like you. Thank you so much.